Nice little scene here, overlooking those distant mountains in California. Actually coming to you from Arizona, just here on the Arizona side of Lake Havasu, which crosses between the two states. Passing through town, decided to stop here, check out some of their sights. One of the well-known sights here in town is the London Bridge, which strangely was actually moved brick by brick here from London and reassembled here at Lake Havasu, which seems highly impractical to me. I can't imagine why how they could even do that. Preserve all these bricks, ship them all the way over here, and then reassemble. Still a visitor center over here. Might be worth checking out, get a little more info, maybe answer some of these questions I've got. I do have some photographic and painting evidence. Here she is in London. And it really was brick by brick. God, what a monumental task. And there she sits today. London Bridge once spanned across the River Thames right out there in London. Sits here connecting a small island to Arizona in a lake. Some stairs heading up here, maybe check it out. Figured we might as well walk across some of it. That is a lot of locks. Like a lot. Well, we've come this far. Might as well walk out onto it. I wonder if even these little pillars are original. According to the visitor center, this exact bridge stood out there in London from 1831 to 1968. 140 years. It's a pretty good run. And back down. I gotta say, after visiting here, I am quite curious how much of this is original. It seems like such an impractical thing to ship a bridge that far, brick by brick. And I gotta say, even these stairs I'm walking on are not the normal size stairs you would encounter in modern America, where people trip and fall and sue regularly. It just makes me wonder how much of this really came from London, England. Well, you don't always expect to get a little English history with your trip to Arizona, but sure enough, you're in Lake Havasu. That's exactly what they got. Pretty unique little stop. Pretty informative. I'm gonna say it feels pretty cool to walk across that old bridge, especially as somebody who's never been to England. So come out to Arizona and get yourself a little piece of it. Heading east, further into Arizona. See some of their signature cacti out there on that hill. Man, right next to these houses, too. How cool would that be? Makes you wonder just what a full-size saguaro cactus goes for. Probably a pretty penny. These babies are pretty old. So right here we are now at Saguaro National Park. Here in kind of southern Arizona. I'm a first-time visitor to this national park. Always wanted to check it out though, and they do have many of their namesake saguaro cacti, and good lord, are they ginormous. And so many cool ones. And this big triumphant bastard. Goodness. That is one big pile of cactus. Gotta love it. They're incredibly rare though. It's odd that that has made it into our hearts as the typical cacti. But anyway, got a couple little hikes planned and check out the visitor center, drive through and see what saguaro's all about. Let's do it. God, some of these do really take on some rather amusing, almost humanoid kind of shapes. Definitely don't want to hug one of these though. Yikes. Made it to the visitor center. Offers up a pretty darn nice view out in this little back porch kind of balcony area here. Some good info here on this signature saguaro cactus. Looks like these regular, just tall, skinny ones are kind of the youths they're considered. Cacti youth. And once they get arms and stuff going, that's when they're in the maturity and old age part of their life. Which, God, they can last up to 175, 200 years old, a lot of these, so I've seen quite a lot. Well, other than a pretty nice view and a few poster boards, not a whole lot going on here at the visitor center. Ah, this is more like it. This is what I had in mind. I thought the visitor center wasn't interesting. I can't give it a full review. It was more or less closed today. They did have a few employees there answering questions and such, but nothing was open to go inside other than the bookstore. So this is more what I had in mind. Just me, in the middle of the desert, surrounded by nobody other than giant saguaro cacti. And they are giant. Goodness. A lot of times birds and owls will nest in these cacti. They burrow out these little holes. See a couple of them right here. That would be cool to see. A little owl. Right now we're hiking what's known as Kings Canyon, which is a pretty good long hike. I think you could do this one all day if you set out to, but I'm gonna hike about the first mile of it. I can't imagine a better time of year for this kind of thing. I mean, as you can see by the weather around me, it's not, cold by any stretch. A little warm in the sun, a little breezy here and there. Quite nice though. Much of the year, this area is nearly unpassable. I mean, maybe for a brief walk, but 115 degrees. Ain't nobody hiking through this. Thought maybe we were making a left here, but I think the trail just goes up this wall. Oh boy. Here. Here's the hard part. That wasn't so bad. Oh man, these little potential lifesavers down there. Just some water in a place where you don't expect it. Woo, it's windy. Here's something you don't expect to see. That is a waterfall. An active one at that. It's just a little trickle, but it goes underground and re-emerges right there. See the water? Huh. Very dry part of the earth, but there is water. And once upon a time, a little thing like this could have been the difference between life and death out here. Man, hard to give it scale, but good lord, that one just there. Gotta be at least 30 feet tall, maybe more. These things are just ginormous. I will say this soft gravel and kind of dirt I'm walking in kind of slows the pace a bit. I sink a good couple inches with each step. So, slows the pace a little bit. I don't think I'm gonna go for broke today. But, definitely enjoyed the hell out of this. This is the first time I've ever gotten to see these things up close like this. So, anywho, start working our way back to the car. It might not be more than about 10 feet down, but it is always nice to do a little climbing. Definitely see where some birds have nested in that one. Bunch of holes. Just about back to the parking lot. Oh. Got a cold LaCroix with my name on it. God bless. Oh. So I drove over here not too far from the national park to a place called Old Tucson Studios. And this is where they filmed pretty much all of the westerns and stuff that are set out here. The movie Tombstone, Kurt Russell, one of my my favorite Western, no questions asked, was filmed right here. And much to my chagrin, they are closed. Not only closed, but they've got K-rails in front of the entrance and no trespassing signs. Ah, what a bummer. That is it right there. Bunch of movies. Old Westerns have been filmed there. 310 to Yuma, Outlaw Josie Wales, and then my favorite, Tombstone, but Well, movie studios might have been closed, but at least I did find this epic viewpoint. That's got me feeling a little better. Kind of hard to make out, but you can see the saguaros damn near to the top of that mountain. They just go on and on and on. Ocean of them. There is old Tucson out there. Very disappointed I didn't get to check that out. That is closed for COVID. And it's an outdoor thing. Doesn't make a damn bit of sense. Don't they want my tourist dollars? But alas, it is certainly not the only tombstone place to see here in the Tucson area. First, we just gotta make our way down the hill into Tucson itself. A lovely city where they put important and majestic artwork on their buildings sometimes. Like I said, old Tucson Studios. Not the only place to see some good stuff if you're a fan of the movie Tombstone. Where we're at right now is the Tucson Train Depot. And this is the site where Wyatt Earp famously, or infamously perhaps, shot and killed Frank Stillwell. Possibly to defend his brothers, who Stillwell had a mind to harm as well, but either way, man was shot and killed in broad daylight here in public. And what do you do when a famous murder happens in public? You honor it with a timeless statue, of course. That's right. Right where this famous murder happened, there is a lovely likeness here of Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday standing where they stood, gunning down one of the cowboys. Stillwell's murder would begin the infamous Earp Vendetta ride. He chased down and killed many of his adversaries. An act that's still kind of questionable to this day over who was in the right, who was in the wrong, but I gotta say, I do love the lore of Wyatt Earp and the entire story, so I'm a huge fan of this, but you gotta admit, it's kind of a questionable thing to put in a statue. Oh, Wyatt. Looks like they got a little train museum thing over here. Let's check this out. Oh, sweet. Looks like you can go up in the thing. Cool. Whoa. Whew. A lot going on in there. Man, look at all these valves and switches and a tennis ball. How cool. It's the real deal. Once these things are labeled for us, you can actually get an idea what everything does. Your big old throttle, ooh, focus, big old throttle lever right there. Some braking stuff over here. Whew, a lot going on. Pretty neat. Alright, let's get out of here. Wyatt, I am rolling. Oh, no parking here. That's a drug deal. And I have found it. This crazy, super weird rattlesnake bridge here in Tucson. Very strange and truly unique architectural feature. I gotta say, this is pretty cool to see in person. I certainly didn't come this far to not walk through it. Pretty cool bridge. I always like when they go out of their way just to make something aesthetically pleasing for no real reason other than that. But it makes sense. Rattlesnakes in this area, only appropriate there be a theme with some of their bridges and overpasses. And here at the tail end, got a very appropriate sculpture coming out of the ground here. This gigantic rattlesnake tail. Well done. Well done. It does look kind of cool as you pass under it in your car, but you really got to get out and walk it to get the full experience, I feel like. Got another site here in Tucson with some historical as well as architectural significance. This is the Pima County Courthouse, built in 1929. This historic courthouse, certainly one of the more visually pleasing buildings here in downtown Tucson, and certainly one of the oldest as well. Large part of this building's unique look, definitely thanks to all these many real intricate carvings that are throughout and on a lot of the pillars. Naturally out front, they got at least a few saguaros. Weird, kind of a hairdo on that one. And evidently, even just this plaza here has some historic significance. According to this was used for Spanish military formations as early as 1775, put it well ahead of the Mexican-American War that was fought here. A lot of history here, really can't escape it, even this footbridge. Commemorating old Commander Pedro Allende. Apparently was attacked by quite a few Apache warriors here. Here's one I recognize, old George Cook. To his name than that. What is it? Philip St. George Cook. Very fascinating historical figure. This guy was a cavalry officer in the Mexican-American War. He went on to become a general for the Union Army in the Civil War. And here is where he commanded some Mormon troops in the Mexican-American War. He was actually on his path to California. Ended up making the first real southern route to California during the early gold rush. Quite a few interesting historic sites down here, downtown Tucson. Figured there would be. Honestly, I didn't do as much homework as I normally do when visiting a place like this. Had a few stops in mind, but just kind of following Google, the little historic site markers, they often lead me to pretty interesting things. I'm gonna say that courthouse is quite beautiful. Alright, we gotta head just to the outskirts of town for this next stop, but should be worth it. I already love this place. There's just random dogs everywhere. A baby! Hello, friend! Aww. That one's lost interest. Your friend. We can be friends. Oh my god, there's another one. They're so cute. Alright. It's unexpected. It's like somebody's yard. Anyways, besides just friendly, unleashed dogs, there's also a mission here. The San Xavier del Bac mission. The original mission built at this site was built all the way back in 1692. Only one of the older Spanish settlements in all of the Southwest. Now it stood here until it was burned in an Apache raid almost 100 years later in 1770. And the building we see here today was built about 10 to 20 years after that, over that course, which is still pretty old. Put it around 1780, 1790 completion. That's the building we see here today. Which does make it one of the oldest buildings in Arizona, definitely the oldest European building in the whole state. And it does look to be open, so let's see what it's all about. This looks to be where you do the thing. For you, forever, forever. I got this separate little church building over to the side here. Figure I'll leave the praying to professionals. Sometimes I see the saguaro cactuses around town, and I wonder how many of them were planted there versus just occurring naturally. Here I got to assume these have been standing here the whole time. This building is well over 200 years old. This one was a little bit off the beaten path, but I always do enjoy a good old building, even if it is temporarily under some construction. But what are you gonna do? Still pretty. Anyways, let's wrap it up for this one. We're all done here from Tucson, but if you made it this far, please consider liking the video and maybe subscribing. Thank you for watching. The doggy chills.